haven't been a place where the majority are in English or from
British.
English or Finnish.
There's only one place that speaks English, and that's English.
Do you know? I don't know if we're allowed to quote politicians in shul. There's what's his name? The Vice President of the United States. What's his name?
J.D. Vance.
That guy, J.D. Vance. So he annoyed the British a few months ago. He was speaking in some place and they were talking about nuclear weapons, and then he said that him and some advisors at the White House were talking about the scare of Muslim regimes acquiring nuclear weapons, and they were discussing who's going to be the first. It's going to be Iran, maybe Pakistan. So which?
Pakistan.
But they're not terrorists. They're Muslim, but like I don't know.
They made the Taliban.
Yeah, I'm just quoting what he said. He said they were debating different countries, and then J.D. Vance said, and then I told my advisors, wait a second, it's probably going to be the United Kingdom with the way they're going, and then the United Kingdom got really annoyed with him. But
that is upsetting.
That is upsetting to hear. He said it with a smile and a snigger. Which was maybe part of the purpose of him saying that was to make a joke, but make a point. But okay, Tov, Parashat Yitro. We read this morning Ma'amad Har Sinai, and usually the way we are told the story is very romantic, right? Hashem spoke to Moshe from the heavens and said, "Listen, I want to give Bnei Yisrael this Torah." And Moshe went to the Am, and they said, "Na'aseh v'nishma," which doesn't really appear in Parashat Yitro. It's in Parashat Mishpatim at the end. They said Na'aseh v'nishma, and it was all lovely, romantic even in some way, right? Oh, but before that, Hashem went to the other nations and offered it to them, and they didn't want. And his whole story is quite amazing. And I'm not saying it's not correct. I want to give an interesting, different perspective to this evening. What I want to do is, you can see the first page is just the Psukim. Okay, no commentary, no perushim, nothing, just the Psukim. I want to go through them. Okay, it's from the beginning of the Parashiyah, not the beginning of the Parasha, the beginning of the Parashiyah, right? After Yitro has his judicial reform with Moshe, and they do everything they do there. Okay, so then we have the Parashiyah of Ma'amad Har Sinai. I want to go through it and read it with you, without any dogmas or anything, any stories that we've been told by our teachers or by our parents and till today. I want to explain them in a bit of an awkward way, you might say, and then I want to show you that what I'm saying is what Rashi, the Rambam, and the Kuzari say, and it's going to shed a bit of an interesting new light on the way that we approach and understand the role of Aseret HaDibrot in what our Jewish theological thoughts should be. Okay? So, let's get going. B'chodesh HaShlishi. So we're going to read almost every single pasuk, unless we think that it's irrelevant to the purpose, but let's start. בחודש השלישי לצאת בני ישראל מארץ מצרים, ביום הזה במדבר סיני, of course, so the third month, חודש סיוון, after leaving Egypt, they arrive at מדבר סיני. וייסעו מרפידים, ויבואו מדבר סיני, ויחנו במדבר, ויחן שם ישראל נגד ההר. Okay, so they arrive near the Mount of Sinai, okay, and they camp, they park there.
You ask me questions or just still read through it?
I'm going to ask questions in the next pasuk already. Yeah, you can ask questions if you want.
No, they really pop out here, but
no, we can learn, but I want to take it to a specific Malech. Okay, if there's any other questions, of course, ask. But I'm gonna ask questions now. Okay, Moshe alayla Elohim. So the first question, which actually this one is in mine, it's the Rambam's in Moreh Nevuchim, comes from these few words. Moshe alayla Elohim. So Moshe ascended to God. Vayikra elav Hashem min hahar le'emor. So Hashem calls to him from the mountain, saying. So even before we read what Hashem tells Moshe, where is Moshe physically?
at the mountain.
He can't be at the mountain, because it says that Hashem called to him from the mountain. So Moshe is somewhere else which isn't the mountain. Okay? So that what brings the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim to say that Moshe is sitting in his tent, right? And he's having nevuah. Moshe alayla Elohim, meaning ascended spiritually, in his mind, not geographically climbing the mountain. Okay? Moshe is sitting in his tent, in the camp, and Hashem calls to him and says, basically what he says is, I want to give you guys a Torah. Let's see how the Psukim say it. כה תאמר לבית יעקב ותגד לבני ישראל, אתם ראיתם אשר עשיתי למצרים, ואשא אתכם על כנפי נשרים, ואביא אתכם אליי. So you've seen what I've done to you in Egypt. I've basically taken you out of Egypt, brought you to me. ועתה, now אם שמוע תשמעו בקולי ושמרתם את בריתי, והייתם לי סגולה מכל העמים, כי לי כל הארץ. Okay, so basically I want you guys to obey my word. Whatever I say, you need to obey, and you...
He's not speaking so much to Moshe as to Bnei Yisrael.
Right, no, but he says, כה תאמר לבית יעקב. So this is a message that you need to pass over to Bnei Yisrael. Right, and now he's talking to Moshe, the Besorah that he's about to give the Torah. and tell this to Bnei Israel, and then if you do this and you obey and you keep the covenant, the Brit, V'yitem li segula mikol ha'amim, you'll be my treasure, my segula, my special nation, kili kol haaretz, because the entire universe, the entire creation is mine. V'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh, you'll be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, a sacred nation. Eile ha'devarim asher tedaber al Bnei Israel. These are the words that you're going to tell Bnei Israel. In other words, until now, and this is important, what did Bnei Israel think the plan is? What are we doing right now?
Then promised to take the land of milk and honey.
Right? They know that we're going back home to the land of milk and honey, right? What is Moshe's job? What is Moshe's role? What is Moshe playing here? What is his job? What is his mission? To take us there. To get us there, right? His role was the guy who says pakot pakati in Egypt, right? Who says pakot pakati, which is the code word that they needed to hear. We heard pakot pakati, okay, we're going. Moshe is also a very spiritual man. He's maybe even an amazing sorcerer, so he knows how to perform so-called magic tricks, right? Which is another interesting sugya. Did Bnei Israel know about the plagues? We don't even know, right? The Torah says that Bnei Israel haya or b'mafrotam. Did they know that it was dark elsewhere? They were having light. Ulechol Bnei Israel lo yecharatz kelev leshono. The dogs wouldn't bite the Jews. So did they know that the animals were doing balagan to the Egypts? That's an interesting question. Not for
they knew that something was wrong when they're supposed to take the short way, and they suddenly. And I always thought that they didn't went at all, but there's a map by Stein that say they really did go there. And when they would come close to the Plishtim, I mean, they're on the road already.
Yeah.
They said, go back.
Go back and then round.
So it was already defined that they make the loop. They understood what.
So they might understand that something funny is going on, right? But of course,
assume they knew all about them. We don't even.
We always assume that they know. Right? Why do we assume? We assume because there's this famous Ramban. A famous Ramban in Parashat Shmot, when Moshe is standing and discussing with Hashem at the sneh, and Hashem tells Moshe, here's one of the signs that I have sent you. That when you come out of Mitzrayim, ta'avdun et Elohim al har hazeh. You're gonna worship. Different interpretations there in the Parashanim. What is interpreted? What? It could have been Har Moriah.
It's supposed to be.
It was
3 weeks and they were been already.
Yeah. No, but when Moshe was Vadai in Har Elohim Chorev, the pasuk, that's what it says in Shemot. So he's at Har Elohim. You want to interpret that's Har Moriah? That'll be interesting. How did Moshe get from Midian running after a lamb to Har Moriah? But it's that.
Walk.
Yeah. I mean, it should have been 11 days, right? But let's say according to most of the Parshanim, we're talking about Har Sinai. And Hashem tells him, you're going to come here after taking Sinai. So the maximum that might be here is that Moshe knows something is going to happen at Har Sinai. We are never told by the Torah that he told Bnei Israel about this, because this should be one of the signs just between him and Hashem, right? This is for me. This is proof for me. And the Torah doesn't say that he told them. So again, what does Bnei Israel think is going to happen? We're going to Eretz Israel. Why are we stopping? Because we make some breaks on the way. What don't they know is about to happen? That there's going to be this covenant. Avraham didn't have it, Yitzchak didn't have it, Yaakov didn't have it, the Shvatim didn't have it. No one ever said anything about it. Okay? So, what does Moshe say? What does Moshe do? So we look at Pasuk Zayin, we're carrying on, where it says Chamishi. Vayavo Moshe, Vayikra leziknei ha'am. He says, okay, I need to give this message, but slowly. Let's start with the Zikanim. Vayasem lifnehem et kol ha'devarim ha'ele asher tziva Hashem. And he tells them, listen, this is what Hashem said. There's going to be a covenant, there's a Torah, we need to obey what he says. The Zkanim weren't the only ones that turned up. Vayanu kol ha'am yechdav vayomru. Everyone said together, kol asher diber Hashem naseh. What does that mean? What do we usually, how do we usually understand the words that I just read now?
Without understanding it. He says they did.
As Nasa v'nishma, right? That's how we usually interpret it, right? Moshe came down, said this is what's going to happen, and we all said,
We accept this.
anything Hashem says, we'll do. Okay, now I want to read the same words with different. I want to emphasize different words, different parts of the pasuk. Okay. Vayanu kol ha'am yechdav vayomru, kol asher diber Hashem naseh. In other words, not what you make up.
What Hashem says.
What Hashem says, we listen to Hashem, not to why are you interfering? If Hashem wants to say something, He knows where to find us. He can tell it to us. Everything that Hashem wants, as I said, we're now reading the Psukim. Afterwards, I'll show you everything in the Parashanim. Okay? Well, in some of the Parashanim, in 3 of the Parashanim.
Up to now, the only communication with Hashem was through Moshe.
until now, and it was more than that. It's not only for them, it's in entire history. Hashem never spoke to a people. He's only spoken to a person. He's only spoken to a yachid, to an individual, to a navi. Now what is Moshe saying? Hashem has this message for all of us? This is too big of a chidush for the Am to just say, Na'aseh v'nishma. They'll say Na'aseh v'nishma afterwards when Ma'amad Har Sinai proves the point that it needs to prove. We'll get to that. And then in Mishpatim, at the end of the Parasha, right, when Moshe comes down, right, and there's the whole text there with the Na'arei B'nai Yisrael, bring the korbanot. Okay, there, it's been already. There we can say Na'aseh v'nishma. But right now they're saying, whoa, stop.
But this is also like the Harji thing was, they say Na'aseh. There's nowhere them to go at the moment. It's like very nice to say like, okay, we'll go back. They're going to go back. They know they're going back.
They do actually know
Because
they say they will.
Afterwards they will say all these things we want to go back, but it's really just to annoy Moshe because they know that there's no way going back. There's no way going back.
It could be that what they could be saying now, with thinking now, is something like Korach. Okay? It could be like, wait, Moshe, you're taking advantage of your role. Right, we'll see in a second. There are some hints to Korach soon. Not in the Psukim. We'll see that soon. We'll see later. But there are some hints to Korach. But they could very well saying to Moshe, no. Which explains why Moshe has a problem. What does he have to do now? If the Am say yes, what is going to be the next stage? Okay, so where's the Torah? But Moshe now has a problem because the Am is saying no. So now he has to go back to Hashem and say, wait, we have a problem. Vayashev Moshe divrei Am el Hashem. Goes back to Hashem and says, listen, we're stuck. I don't know what to do. They're not prepared. Okay? Now it makes sense what Hashem responds to Moshe. Because if we understand the Am's answer as, of course, Na'aseh v'nishma, then the next stage that comes with Hashem's response makes no sense, or makes little sense. Let's put it that way. It makes little sense. But if we explain it the way I just explained it now, then what Hashem says now to Moshe is it makes perfect sense. So what is the Am's problem? Is the Am don't trust Moshe. If Hashem comes and says something to them, of course.
How is it they don't trust Moshe?
Why should they? But why? But that perfect. So Moshe is the political leader. He's a spiritual person. He's a diplomatic artist. He knows how to get them out of Egypt. But who said that means he can give Torah?
Also, he said that they're going to Egypt, the Eretz Yisrael, they are. They suddenly see that we are not going there at all. So why should they believe what he said? And you see also, that's what says Data Maviram, you should step down. You promised X, and we're all going to die.
I'm saying, so the Tana Aviram's problem is that they, even after Ma'amad Har Sinai, they carried on not accepting Moshe's leadership and his understanding that when Moshe says something in the name of Hashem, it's actually Hashem speaking, right? But now, what does Hashem say? Okay,
this is hard because Moshe has already done the plagues, as you mentioned. He already did the sea. He already did the water and Maran.
Which is all irrelevant for Torah. It's irrelevant for Torah. Amazing. It's amazing. He's an
court system.
Which was man-made and by Yitro.
So he already had a system.
And one second. And according to some of the Mefarshim, that hadn't happened yet. That's in Bemidbar. But okay. But all of these things. But the words that you were saying right now, I'm tempted to read out the Rambam, because the Rambam, which we're going to see later, says all the stuff that Moshe did until now did not prove anything. Those are the words we're going to read in the Rambam.
Moshe supposedly brought on Shabbos and the rules at Mara. That was how do I translate it into English? It was a needed solution. It was a solution for a problem. It was nikudati, as we say in Hebrew. Okay? Shabbat was needed right then.
Yeah, it was needed right then with the correct way to behave with the man. But one second. You'll see those words exactly in the Rambam. Okay? We'll get to it. Okay, so if we understand, if we accept, not yet, you don't have to be convinced yet, but if we understand that the Amatele Moshe, will believe Hashem, not you, then it makes sense what Hashem comes and says now. What does he say? Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Hinei anochi ba elecha be'av ve'anan. Oh, I'm now going to reveal myself to the Am through the cloud. Why is this? What is this for? What's the purpose? So we don't need to make it up. It says, right? Ba'avur yishma ha'am bedabri imach. Oh, so that the people can hear me speaking to you, and therefore, v'gam becha ya'aminu le'olam, so they'll trust you. So the way we understand it usually is that the Am already said Na'aseh v'nishma, then Hashem said, let's get another benefit in. let's do this. Let's have me speaking to you in front of them, so that from now on, whatever I tell you, whatever you say, they'll know it's coming from me. But it's as I said, we can understand why it's there, but it feels a bit weird. If we go according to the way we explained now the Psukim, that the Am needs proof, the Am want proof, then it makes perfect sense why Hashem is saying this. The Am need to see Hashem speaking to Moshe. That's the exact solution for the problem. If they see that Hashem speaks to Moshe, it ticks all the boxes, and they know that they can trust Moshe. Okay?
So up to this point, they didn't really trust Moshe? No.
They trusted him to lead the way to Eretz Yisrael. But now, because the thing is that he's now changing the rules. We all agreed around the table that the Am weren't prepared for the fact that there's going to be a Torah. They didn't know that's coming, right? And now Moshe comes and changes the rules. Okay, let's put it this way, okay? We're sitting here tonight. You guys know that my role tonight is to teach you this Daf Mekorot, right? This source sheet, we're learning together this source sheet. And I'm going to some stage throughout this evening, I'm going to insert into the source sheet a line that says, you all have to pay me 100,000 shekels per year for the next 50 years. Why? Because, I don't know, for some kind of reason. You weren't expecting that. That wasn't part of the game, right? Okay. So when you get to that part in this, it doesn't exist, right? Okay. But when you get to that place, that line in the source sheet, you're going to say, wait a second.
That's a shock.
That's a shock. You brought Psukim and you brought Rambam and you brought Rashi, but where did you bring that? You made that sentence up. The line that says that we need to pay you, you've made it up. And if you don't make that argument, then then there's something wrong, right? If you don't make the argument of where's that coming from, prove that that's authentic, it's real, and it's legitimate, then there's a kind of an issue here. So Moshe says we're going to Israel. Legit. He says Pakot Pakati. Oh, we've been waiting to hear Pakot Pakati. Amazing. Does the miracles. Amazing. Oh, guys, wait a second. There's going to be a Torah now. Wait, who spoke about a Torah? Where did this come from? Okay? Yes. The most natural thing is to say, no, wait. If this is going to, we need proof. Which, by the way, Hashem doesn't get angry. How many times throughout in the desert did Am Yisrael mamrim heitem im Hashem? You were trying Hashem again and again and again, and he gets annoyed. And here what? Oh, Jim, they're correct. There's a good question here. Here's my solution. Okay, let's carry on because we're going to see there's a bit of a twist that comes soon. Okay, so basically the plan is like this. Hashem is going to reveal himself in the cloud, and this is the purpose of this is that what? Is that the Am see Hashem is speaking to Moshe, just besogayim as we say, if we in the Rambam, in Moreh Nevuchim, this is not part of the Mahalach, but it does raise a question of, wait, does that mean that the Am and Moshe heard Hashem at the same level? It's a bit crazy, right? Because we know that Moshe was the only one who heard Hashem panim panim. So if you guys not kashur to the Mahalach tonight, but if you want to look in Moreh Nevuchim, I think it's in the third chelek in chapter Kaf Zayin, I think, he talks exactly about this, and he says there were two different levels. Moshe heard the words, and the Am saw Hashem speaking to Moshe. They heard the blur, but it was good enough for them because they saw the conversation happening between Hashem and Moshe. What does that exactly mean? We don't know because we're not Nevi'im and we weren't there. What does it mean to see Hashem? But the Rambam says this tekes was that they see Hashem speaking to Moshe and understand that Moshe is hearing this call, these words from Hashem, even though they didn't hear exactly the same thing.
Because he holds the prophet that had many years of preparation.
Yeah. So they have 3 days, right? And he had no. So again, I'm just saying, I'm putting that aside. Okay, but let's carry on without Malach. Okay, so what needs to happen now? We can skip the next Psukim, but let's read them anyway, just to so we remember the entire story. So we know there's 3 years of Hagbala, 3 days of Hagbala. They need to be prepared and ready for the third day. So on the third day, Hashem is going to descend and reveal himself to the entire nation on the mountain of Sinai. This is the only
time in the 40 years that they washed their clothes.
Right, because they didn't need to. They didn't need to. By the way, it's another miracle. Where did all the water come from? Okay, so there's the prohibition of climbing up to the mountain or even touching it. Okay, let's skip just a few psukim, because basically what's happening now is the Am is getting prepared. this. You want to take source? This the Pimikor, the source sheets in the middle. Okay. V'simcha. Okay, so we're skipping the next two Psukim, which just describe describe Am Yisrael doing what Moshe has told them to prepare. Okay, let's skip to Pasuk Tet Zayin. Okay, which is we've skipped forwards 3 days or 2.5 days. ויהי ביום השלישי. ביות הבוקר, ויהי קולות וברקים, וענן כבד על ההר, וכל שופר חזק מאוד, ויחרד כל העם אשר במחנה. Okay, so we know all the descriptions of what's happening at Har Sinai. No, we're not going to make any special chidushim here this evening about that. Okay, a very special event and ceremony. ויוצא משה את העם לקראת האלוהים מן המחנה, ויתייצבו בתחתית ההר. So Moshe leads Am Yisrael out of the camp to the mountain, and they spread around the mountain, around the mountain at the bottom. והר סיני ישן כולו מפני אשר ירד עליו השם באש, ויעל עשנו כאשן הכבשן, ויחרד כל ההר מאוד. Okay, basically this pasuk and the next two psukim describe the mountain, the smoke, the noise, the shofar. Okay, let's skip to pasuk Kaf. Okay, one more pasuk we'll skip down. It's the next paragraph. Okay, because it's in the chumash that I took it from. It's the next page. וירד השם על הר סיני אל ראש ההר. Let's just before we read the next two psukim, where is everyone placed? Where is Hashem? Where's Hashem? Hashem has descended on Har Sinai in the cloud, right? Where is Moshe? Lemata, down at the bottom with Bnei Israel. Where is Bnei Israel? Where's Am Yisrael? Around the mountain. Who else is relevant for us to know right now? I think that's enough. Okay, so we know where everyone is. ויקרא השם למשה אל ראש ההר ויעל משה. So Hashem calls Moshe and says, ascend, I need you to climb the mountain. And Moshe does so. ויאמר השם אל משה, רד ha'ed ba'am. Hashem tells Moshe, listen, I brought you up here because apparently I don't know how to speak to you if you are not up here, but I need you to go back down. Right? Why do I need to go back down? Ha'ed ba'am, pen yersu el Hashem lirot v'nafal mimenu rav. Meaning the Am need to know where they can't go any further, so that no one dies. וגם הכהנים הניגשים אל השם יתקדשו ונפרוץ בהם השם. So, also the Kohanim, the priests, need to know where they can go, where they can't go, so that Hashem doesn't get, his anger doesn't flare against them and they get punished. Okay. What would you respond to Hashem if you were Moshe? What would you say? What did Hashem just tell Moshe? Make sure they don't climb Ma'amad Har Sinai. They don't climb the mountain, right?
Well, the first thing is that you say yes because it's Hashem. You do what Hashem says. But on the other hand, Hashem has already told you what to do.
Metzuyan. That's exactly the question, right? But let's. The question is, why tell me something you've already told me just 7 or 8 psukim ago? But the question here is even more piercing, right? Why? Because Hashem called Moshe up to tell him something that he already told him. There's a few questions here. First of all, that's why I emphasized it at the beginning, based on the Rambam, in the pasuk Moshe el Elohim, Hashem knows to speak. Well, Hashem knows. Hashem speaks to Moshe when Moshe is down at the bottom and Hashem is at the top. Why does now he need to call Moshe up when he can tell him whatever he wants to tell him down there? But it isn't a Seret HaDibrot yet, because he goes up and then Hashem says go back down, right? So it doesn't make sense on too many levels. It doesn't make any sense. And this is not me making it up. It's Moshe. Look at the next pasuk. ויאמר משה אל השם, לא יוכל העם לעלות אל הר סיני. Meaning, you're telling me to go down and to warn them not to climb the mountain, not to touch the mountain. They can't. Why? כי אתה העדות בנו לאמור, הגבל את ההר וקידשתו. You already told us to make signs or marks or a fence or whatever it is, and to make sure everyone knows not to climb the mountain. So Moshe doesn't understand what's happening here. Okay, what would we expect Hashem to say in such a case? There must be another reason why I called you up here, right? Or there must be a reason why I need you to tell this again.
It was 2 days ago.
To emphasize, it's been 2 days ago, exciting 3 days, right? It's been very, very, very intense 3 days. A lot of things have happened, right? Maybe Moshe forgot. That's not what Hashem says.
Well, when the command before was to mark the fence now or to mark the fence in 3 days? When was the
It was probably for part as part of the tekes. No, it says, ביום השלישי ירד השם והגבלת את העם.
No.
Yeah, no, but from the, because the pasuk says, be prepared for the third day, because on the third day Hashem is going to descend on the mountain and make sure that no one touches the mountain. It sounds like it's in 3 days, but even if it was only for then, so what would it be? It can't. Sorry, I'll take that back. It can't be that it was for then, because then Moshe's argument is incorrect. Okay, you understand what happened here? What's your name, sir? Michael. So Michael said maybe what Hashem said the first time was to fence and mark the mountain then, 3 days ago. And now he's calling Moshe to tell him, oh, but do it again also now for the tekes of Ma'amad Har Sinai. But then Moshe should have said, oh, okay, and done it, right? But Moshe makes the argument of, wait a second, you already told this to me. I already know this. The Am know not to climb the mountain. Now, what we would expect to hear from Hashem now is a reason why I've called you up here, Moshe, anyway, even though we already discussed this and given emphasize. But that's not what Hashem says. What Hashem says is, Vayomer elav Hashem, lech red, descend, ועלית אתה ואהרון עמך, והכהנים והעם על ירסו לעלות השם פן יפרוץ בם. So go down and come back up with Aaron. Wait a second. I asked a question. Moshe asked a question saying, why did you call me up here? To tell me the same thing again. And Hashem, instead of giving a reason of why he called him up a second, to tell him why he had to call him up and not speak to him while he was down there, and why he has to tell him something they already told him, he just makes up another reason. Wait, I want you to go down to come back up with Aaron. So הוא חוזר על זה, נכון, הוא חוזר על זה, but now, what is the reason now that Moshe needs to go back down? To call it to bring Aaron, right? No, so again,
have a big passion who climbs the...
Who has a passion? The Am. No, but I agree, there's a big passion.
לכן צריך להגיד פעמיים, יש להם באמת איזה...
אבל Moshe לא מסכים איתך. Moshe doesn't agree with you. Because if Hashem would have said, listen, this is מאוד מאוד חמור, this is very, very serious, I need you to go back to Am Yisrael and warn them again. Okay? So there still is a few questions. First question is, why does Moshe have to come up? Like the entire discussion before was Moshe was down in his tent. Why now does it have to be that Moshe is called up? But number two is, Moshe should have said, okay, Shamati, באמת מאוד מאוד חמור, I'll tell them again. But Moshe makes the argument, why did you waste my time? You don't have time. Why did you waste my time? Right? Why are you telling me this again? And then Hashem just makes up something else. Oh, no, do you know? Go down and bring Aaron. So now, wait a second. It feels like, tell me if you guys disagree, it feels like Hashem called Moshe up for a made-up reason. He thought maybe Moshe would, right? Maybe Moshe would accept it. Moshe didn't. So Hashem made up a different reason of go back down and come back up. And here's the worst. Here's what makes the question even harsher, which is Hashem tells Moshe, go down, bring Aaron. Vayered Moshe el ha'am, vayomer aleim. So Moshe comes back down. What is he supposed to do right now? Tell Aaron, you're coming back up with me, and and warn the Am, or warn the Kohanim again about Har Sinai. But he doesn't manage to do that. Why? Because vayomer aleim. Oh, וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור, אנוכי השם אלוקיך, Hashem starts 10 הדיברות? Wait, what's happening?
He told them.
Where did he tell them?
He passed the message on. That was That was Kafeh. He told them. And then...
Wait, Kafeh was Vayered Moshe. Wait, we're not going to separate the Psukim according to the chapters. That's not... The Chalukah of the Beit Midrash doesn't have to go according to Perek Kaf, Pasuk Aleph.
Moshe did what he was told, and then begins the...
So where is Moshe?
What?
Where is Moshe?
Where is Moshe?
Yes. When וידבר אלוהים את כל הדברים האלה לאמור, which is 10 הדיברות, some of us like it's the holiest time holy ceremony in the history of Am Yisrael. Where is Moshe? Where is Moshe?
Well, he said
וירד Moshe, אז הוא למטה.
And then he went back. He was told.
So wait, no, because Michael is saying he went back up.
He was told. Hashem told him to go back up.
Okay, so first of all, let's agree. So wait. First of all, let's agree that the Psukim don't tell us where he is, right? But what do we know? That it was very important for Hashem to call Moshe up in order to tell him to go down. That's why I emphasized over the last few minutes that the first question of these Psukim is not what did Hashem say or why did he have to call Moshe up when he could have spoken to him when Moshe was down in the tent, just like the beginning of the page. If we go back to what is the whole point of this ceremony, as we learned before, was not just holiness, kedusha.
Why is it important where is Moshe now?
I'll explain why it's important. Because the whole point of the ceremony is that the Am sees. They need to see Moshe during Aseret HaDibrot. Because if they don't see him, exactly. Because if the whole point of Aseret HaDibrot is not romantic, is legal, we need proof. Then where does Moshe have to be? down there. But it has to be said that Moshe has to be down there, meaning Hashem has to tell Moshe, you have to be down. Why do I have to be down? It doesn't matter why you have to be down. Go down, tell them, warn them about the mountain. Oh, wait, that's not going to work, because they already told them. Oh, so not that reason, a different reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is, just be down there, because you have to be down. Lech red. If it's for that reason or that, it doesn't matter what the reason is. Hashem, whatever. And we're talking about Hashem. We're talking about the Torah. And these last psukim, as I was saying in Hebrew, it feels like a ganon. Like, as if I'm a ganenet telling a story and I have balagan. Balagan with the characters. It's mamash a mess. The only reason it can be a mess, we're talking about, again, the Torah Kedosha. The only reason it could be a mess is because the real point here is hidden. And the point is, Moshe has to be down there. Moshe can't be on the mountain. We always think that Ma'amad Har Sinai was Moshe on the mountain. No, Moshe has to be down at the bottom. Why?
He has to be seen.
He has to be seen. He has to be with the people, with Am Yisrael. And that's why Hashem, I disagree. I understand your commentary to these psukim, but my feeling is more that Moshe was about to tell them, about to climb back up with Aharon, and Hashem didn't let him. That's the way I feel it. He had to be down there. I can accept, again, this is not mukhrach. It could be that he was climbing back up, but he had to be seen. He had to be told by Hashem, twice, because he put up an argument, he put up a fight. Twice to be told by Hashem, lechred. Okay? So basically, we've taken all the romance out of Ma'amad Har Sinai. I'm sorry. But what was Ma'amad Har Sinai? It was the ceremony where Bnei Yisrael needed proof. We needed proof. Okay? We needed proof that Moshe was really speaking Hashem's words. And this is relevant not only for Moshe's times, it's for the entire history. How does Tanakh end? What is the last pasuk in Tanakh? Not in Tanakh, but not Divrei Yamim. Historically, what is the last pasuk, the last words said by a Navi? The end of Malachi. What is the last pasuk of Malachi? Zichru Torat Moshe Avdi.
Almost.
Oh, it's the second. Okay, that's the last message that he has, right? Because that's the Armageddon that's coming. But his last message to us, that is a moral message or a kriyat kivun, is Zichru Torat Moshe Avdi. But all our life is based on the fact that we accept Torat Moshe Avdi. Why do we? Because we saw with our eyes. Because that was the whole purpose. Again, the romance and the kedusha comes afterwards, but the basis is we saw with our eyes. Now, so you don't go home saying, this Avichai guy came and made up this story and ruined the way we approach Ma'amad Har Sinai. I want to show it to you. In Rashi, it's just in a remez, in a hint. It's Rashi on the Psukim, but in the Kuzari and in the Rambam, I think Rashi, Kuzari, and Rambam is enough to rest my case, right? But let's see where they say, in Rashi, as I say, it's just a hint. So let's turn the page. Okay, so this is Rashi on the Pasuk Tet, okay? This is from our parasha. Look at the third line, okay? Et divrei ha'am. So this is Moshe returning the Am's response to Hashem. Who here likes Avram Fried? Who listens to Avram Fried?
I've seen you on the stage.
He's a bit old.
He's a bit old, but his songs. Who knows his songs?
That's a new one.
No, 15 good 15 years, I think.
That is new from us.
Okay. It's a nice challenge, okay? When we're finished, go home, open YouTube, and write Avram Fried, Retzonenu lerot et Malkeinu. He's basically turned this Rashi that we're going to read now into a song, okay? And it's a very nice song. The only problem is that he didn't understand Rashi. Okay, we can once do a shiur about the different mekorot that Avram Fried didn't understand, but that's an interesting shiur to have. Like the song Ishat Re'u Ya'azoru, right? Ishat Re'u, you know, right? Chazak V'nit Chazak. Where's that pasuk from? It's a pasuk. It's in Yeshayahu. The Ovdei Avodah Zarah, strengthening each other. Each one is saying, "Oh, you make your pesel good, and you make your pesel good, because Hashem is coming. We have to fight him."
You got flack for that even the time when you made the song.
Yeah, I'm saying. It's a few songs where it's interesting to see how he. Okay, but this one, even if you don't watch the YouTube, just listen to the song. It's a Hasidic Dveikus song. Okay, because let's read the words without any tone. I'm just going to read it without any tone. Okay. Moshe is going back up to Hashem and bringing the people's response at the beginning. Okay. Tshuva al davar ze shamati mehem sheretzonam lishmoa mimcha. Meaning, they want to hear from you. And they give a reason. Meaning,
It's not the same if we hear from the shaliach to hearing from the king himself. Retzonenu lerot et malkeinu. So the words retzonenu lerot et malkeinu, Avram Fried turned them mamash into a retzonenu, and you see the song and mamash dveikus. But now let's read it, inserting the tone, which is matim to our mahalach here this evening. Moshe is coming to Hashem and saying, "Tshuva al davar ze shamati mehem, sheretzonam lishma mimcha." Eino domeh shomeh mipi shaliach shomeh mipi hamelech. They don't want to hear from me. I'm not enough for their need right now to hear from you. Retzonenu lerot et malkeinu. Okay, because I think something is starting here, so let's skip the Kuzari for now. Go to the Rambam. Okay, if we have time, we'll come back to the Kuzari. Rambam is on the next page. Okay, it's the page with just the one. So this is a Rambam from Hilchot Yesodei Torah, chapter Chet. Okay, it's this one. Say that. We have it. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu. Lo ha'eminu. Okay, so Hilchot Yesodei Torah are the founding theological understandings and pillars that we need to have in our Jewish life, right? So chapter Chet is about Moshe Rabbeinu's nevuah, his prophecy. So the rest of the chapter talks about the difference between Moshe and the other Nevi'im, Moshe and us. But the Rambam starts it like this. Moshe Rabbeinu, lo ha'eminu bo Yisrael mipnei ha'otot she'asa. Meaning, what I said before, right? They did not believe him because of the miracles that he performed. Meaning there's always a suffix. Always a suffix. Why? Meaning it could be that Moshe is an amazing sorcerer. And that's it. He was the shaliach to take us out of Egypt. He's the shaliach to take us to Israel. And benosaf, in addition, he's also a sorcerer. Amazing. But I have a suffix. Because maybe Kirat Yam Suf was a magic trick. It worked in our benefit. We were saved. The Egyptians were drowned. We learned that sugya last week, right? That he's the shaliach to get them out of Egypt, right? And there's three lehamin b'Moshe in the Torah. There's vayamin Am b'Moshe when he comes and says pakot pakati. There's vayaminu b'Hashem b'Moshe avdo after the Egyptians drown, and there's v'gam b'cha yaminu leolam in this week's parasha. Vayamin Am in Mushmot is they understand the process. They believe the process is starting. Is it going to find? Are we going to succeed? I don't know. It's starting. Someone has said pakot pakati. Okay, it's starting. Vayaminu b'Hashem b'Moshe avdo is the Moshe's Hashem's slave. Moshe Eved Hashem, right? And he's the shaliach. He's taking us out. V'gam b'cha yaminu leolam is that he also gives the Torah, and that everything Moshe says we have to obey. Okay, but this is what the Rambam says. Lo ha'aminu bo mipnei ha'otot. They did not believe him. They did not trust him. Ela kol ha'otot she'asa Moshe b'midbar lefi hatzorech asa. Meaning there was every time that Moshe performed a miracle on ot, there was a specific need, and he performed the miracle. היה צריך להשקיע את המצרים. They had to drown the Egyptians. קרע את הים והצלילם בתוכו. So he split the sea. נצטרכו למזון. הוריד את המן. They were hungry. Then he brought the man. צמאו, בקע להם את האבן. They were thirsty. But he brought the water out of the rock. Here's the interesting one, okay? כפרו בו עדת קורח. בלעה אותם הארץ. So when Korach and his Eidah, Datan v'Aviram that were mentioned before, they had the choser emunah in Moshe. So Moshe performed the miracle of the land opening its mouth. The question is, according to our parashot, that happened afterwards, right? Okay, but that's interesting.
No, but even then they would say that. I always thought that's not a good proof because I say, Moshe said to people, you know what happened? The earth will swallow them.
Okay.
That's terrible thing to say. Even now they have more chashash that he did it. He exactly told you what's going to be.
Yeah, no. So the question that I'm raising is that from what we're going to see in a second, the way the Rambam phrases it is that after Ma'amad Har Sinai, there can be no questioning of Moshe and his authority.
Not before there was no questioning.
No, but Korach apparently was after Ma'amad Har Sinai, right? Okay, but we're not here to discuss Korach. We can know that on Parashat Korach. Okay, v'chen shar kol ha'otot. All the rest of the miracles were the same. Okay, so why do we trust Moshe? Uvameh eminu bo beMa'amad Har Sinai she'einenu ra'u velo zar ve'ozneinu shemu velo acher. Meaning it was our eyes that saw and our ears that heard. Ha'esh ve'akolot ve'alapedim, right? The fire, the voices, the torches. Ve'hu Moshe nigash el arafel ve'hakol medaber elav. Right? So Moshe went to the Arafel. Where's the Arafel? I don't know where that is. Is that down? Is that up? I don't know. Okay, the Rambam. It could be that the Rambam means more like you said, that it's up, but we could see him, but we had to see him, right? והכל מדבר אליו, and there was this voice that spoke to him, ואנו שומעים, משה, משה, לך אמור להם כך וכך. Oh, we heard the voice speaking to Moshe, go and tell them כך וכך. וכן הוא אומר, פנים בפנים דיבר השם עמכם, ונאמר, לא את אבותינו, קראת השם את הברית הזאת. So he brings a few psukim to show that, okay, about the ceremony. And if...
He switched a bit there, so we heard Moshe be talking, and they said that she talked to directly. Also, it doesn't quite echo what he's trying to do.
Oh, wait a second. That's exactly the next few lines. ומניין שמעמד הר סיני לבדו, היא הראיה לנבואתו שהיא אמת שאין בדופי. Where do we learn from? Where's the proof for us that the only reason we trust Moshe and believe Moshe is Ma'amad Har Sinai, שנאמר, הנה אנוכי בא אליך באב וענן, בעבור ישמעם בדברי עמך וגם בך יאמינו לעולם. Our pasuk from before says the Rambam מכלל שקודם דבר זה לא האמינו בו נאמנות שהיא עומדת לעולם, אלא נאמנות שיש אחריה ערעור ומחשבה. Meaning before Ma'amad Har Sinai, they were iffy about Moshe. They were cool about him being the shaliach to Eretz Yisrael, like we said. But not everything that comes out of his mouth is Torah Moshe, is Torah Mishamayim. After Ma'amad Har Sinai, it is. After Ma'amad Har Sinai, do you know what Am Yisrael can say? Na'aseh v'nishma. Right? What does Na'aseh v'nishma mean? We'll do before we hear, right? We're all in, even without knowing what it means to be all in. That can only come after Ma'amad Har Sinai. Okay, we have a few more minutes. Let's try and read the Kuzarit again, also, just so we can. So let's not read all of it, okay? Because it starts a discussion about Shabbat. Okay, let's start here. The second line of Pei Zayin, okay? Okay, so we're starting here. The second line of Pei Zayin. Let's try and do it a bit quicker, just so we can manage as much as we can. Vehu sheha'am, the people. Meaning, even though they had some level of emunah in Moshe after all the miracles that he performed, and here he emphasizes what is the safek. The Rambam didn't mention what is the safek, right? The Rambam just said they could have a safek about the miracles, that maybe it wasn't Yad Hashem, it was Moshe being a sorcerer. Moshe had kishuf, right? But here we hear the Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, who was before the Rambam actually, he says, what was the safek? Yeah. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi was a dayan in the Rif's Beit Din, and he was a dayan together with Rimi Gash. Rimi Gash was the rabbi of Maimon, the father of the Rambam. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi was we know him for Sefer HaKuzari, which is for this book, right? The Hashkafic book. But he was a very, 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 very serious dayan in the Rif's Beit Din. You have to be a serious dayan. He's one of Gedolei Israel. We usually don't use him in Iyun because he doesn't really write too much in Iyun, but he did and we don't have. But he was very serious, very, very, one of the massive Talmidei Chachamim that we had. So he says, what is the safek? And why is this important? כדי שלא תהיה התחלת התורה מעצה ומחשבה מצד האדם שהתלוו אליו השראה ועזר מאת השם. Meaning, what is the safek? There could have been a chashash, a fear, that where did the Torah come from? What's the Torah's source? Moshe. Moshe made it up. Now, it could be that after Moshe made it up and it came from a human source, Hashem would have seen and said, "Ooh, it looks like a good idea. Shabbat is a good idea. Tefillin is a good idea. Keep them." We have some mitzvot that are like that, right? There's a midrash that says that Sfirat HaOmer started from Am Yisrael counting. The midrash doesn't work without mahalach, right? They counted to Matan Torah because they, according to that midrash, knew, and Hashem said, "This is so amazing. Do it every year." Okay? There's a midrash that the Ran quotes in the end of Masechet Psukim. But we don't want that. Why don't we want that? Because the Torah, what's unique about our Torah is that it's totally mishamayim. It didn't start from Torah shebe'al peh b'seder, but Torah shebichtav, the part that Hashem gives, has to come from Him. It can't be that we have even the lightest safek that Moshe was the source of it, even if Hashem afterwards agrees. Okay, but what was the problem is, you want to tell me that Hashem speaks to human beings? It can't be. Hashem wanted to take away the safek. So he wanted them to be prepared. Okay, so all the describing of them being prepared, 3 days, etc., etc.
Let's skip to 4 lines from the end of the big paragraph, okay? אבל לא היה להם כוחו של משה לראיית הדבר הגדול ההוא, okay? So that's the end of that line. Okay? והאמינו העם מאותו היום שמשה מדבר אליו דיבור שהתחלתו מאת השם לא קדמה למשה בו מחשבה ולא דעה. Meaning, what was the nikuda? From that day on, they knew that when Moshe says something, he says, Ko amar Hashem. We know that these words origin from Hashem. They didn't start with Moshe. כדי שלא תהיה נבואה, כמו שחושבים הפילוסופים, מנפש שהזדקחו מחשבותיה. ותדבק בשכל הפועל. So meaning, what are the philosophers, the philosophers, what did they think? What is nevuah? Nevuah is that I take my mind and my nefesh and I become very holy, very kadosh, and very parush, and then I have all kinds of thoughts. And my thoughts they come from me, but because I'm very, very holy, they have some kind of chibur with a sechel hapoel, with holiness, with kedusha. Says the Kuzari, that's a problem from our perspective. The Torah can't be something that starts from us and then Hashem agrees. It has to come from Him. Let's say. So go to the second paragraph, okay? Here, so it's the end of the 3rd line. So basically, what I've skipped is he describes how the philosophians view nevuah. So he says, "V'ukhshu ele asvarot." Ma'amad Gadol, meaning Ma'amad Har Sinai was there to show us how nevuah actually starts, how it works. ומשבא בעקבות הדיבור האלוהים אל המכתב האלוהים, הואיל וכתב את 10 הדיברות האלה בשני לוחות אבן יקרה ונתנם אל משה. Okay, so basically, what does he say? What was the point of Ma'amad Har Sinai? To prove to the that when Moshe speaks in Hashem's name, it's Hashem speaking. So, as I said before, I'm sorry for ruining the romance around Aseret HaDibrot and around Ma'amad Har Sinai. I still think that it is the holiest or one of the holiest events in the history of Am Yisrael, and there is a lot of kedusha and dvekut that we can mitchazek about our kesher and our relationship with Hashem from Ma'amad Har Sinai, but that's an addition. The core of the event, the core of the day was we need to take off the table any kind of sfekot that we might have regarding Moshe's nevuah. Moshe's Torah is Torah emet, Torah min hashamayim. And that's the only reason we obey. We need to obey, because it is Torah Shamayim, Torah min Shamayim. If it wasn't, if it was just vekas, if Ma'amad Har Sinai was just let's sing songs together around Kumbaya, as we say, how does that service our avodat Hashem? Just fun? No. And we can see. So again, in Rashi, maybe you can understand Rashi in different ways, but at least the Rambam and Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, it's pashut, it's meforash. This is what changed. What changed the Ma'amad Har Sinai? Now we can trust Moshe. Until Parashat Yitro, we had our questions about Moshe. We don't know. It's not a full obedience. Now it is. Tov, Shalom, Shabbat Tov.